Welcome back, my little recusants, to another episode of our Pokemon Yellow episodic Nuzlocke. So, last episode, Splishy, our Magikarp, evolved into Gyarados, and unfortunately, he ended up rampaging, which meant that Roxas had to be taken off the SSN by the captain. Now, we were originally going to use the SSN to sail to Johto to escape Team Rocket's pursuit of us, since we have the Helix fossil. Thinking now on what to do, he gets a call from Professor Oaks saying that he's after having Team Rocket thugs back at Pallet, asking about him, asking about these different fossils, things like that. And what's really worrisome is that there's actually another fossil in the Pewter City Museum. So Roxas is asked by Professor Oak if he would be able to journey back to Pewter using Diglett's Cave as a kind of safe passage, being undetected, collect the fossil and go on towards Lavender Town. Showdown with Surge! The journey through Diglett's Cave is fraught with many different fights and encounters. I did a little bit of grinding just to get some levels with Weeping Bell and Pidgeotto, and we eventually emerge the other side now, safely at Pewter City, and now able to cut through the hedging to forge a new path that was originally not there when we first passed through Viridian Forest. Thinking on the risk to his own safety, Roxas ponders if taking this fossil is a good idea. If they were already putting up this much of a manhunt across the Kanto region to try and get the Helix fossil, surely having two fossils would only lead to more hardship for him and a more fervent search on behalf of Team Rocket. Using the hidden machine technique, Sunny the Weeping Bell is now able to cut a way through the path, now leading to Pewter City and opening up other areas of the map going forward. Returning to the familiar sights and sounds of Pewter City, Roxas, having fought many a Diglett and avoiding the high-leveled Dugtrio, is able to heal up. While there, Seraphine notices another Jigglypuff, and the two of them start to play together and sing and harmonize together in a beautiful duet. All of the different people in the Pokemon Center look at the two of them and enjoy the lovely music. While at the Pokemon Center, Peekaboo does seem exhausted. Clearly, the shock of Splishy's violent evolution has put a strain on Peekaboo and is kind of looking towards its teammates, wondering how they're all going to be friends again after Splishy now really hasn't seen the outside of its Pokeball. Roxas is, again, as part of his negative flaw, is completely terrified of water Pokemon, the only exception being Splishy was, for all intents and purposes, completely harmless. So now that Gyarados here is literally this catastrophic threat on the seas and nearly caused the whole ship to sink, Roxas really is worried if he's even able to tame this Pokemon and use it in battle at any time nearby. He enters the back area of the Pewter City Museum, and many of the scientists are kind of looking over this old amber and they're saying, no, it's impossible, it's not like any of the other specimens, like there's no organic matter there, and like even if it's inside there, it's hardly going to be viable for the reanimation machines. The professor kind of argues and is eventually left alone. Roxas approaches, saying that he had a message from Professor Oak. It's dangerous for this to remain here. If Team Rocket gets wind of this, and he explains the whole thing in Mount Moon where they attacked, another scientist who was after excavating other fossils, not wanting the Pewter City Museum to end up, ransacked The scientist quickly hands over the amber, and Roxas quickly makes his way out of the city, making sure not to talk to anybody or draw any particular attention, just wanting to get back to Vermilion through the secret way of Diglett's cave. As he goes back though, Professor Oak, he gives him a call in the Pokemon Center to say that he's collected the extra fossil and is making his way back to Vermilion. Oak says that he'll send one of his aides along a secret path up by Viridian. And meeting this aide, he then gives him the HM05, which should allow him to traverse the darkness of Rock Tunnel safely. Roxas teaches this HM move to Pikachu. Pikachu is essentially able to, instead of generating like full-blown arcs of electricity, instead just channels enough static energy through its body that actually makes its fur ionized and luminescent. So Pikachu basically glows, its fur just starting to shed this dazzling light all around the room, which really is quite beautiful, if not, sad for the fact that realistically Roxas isn't going to be able to go home now. Team Rocket have actually tracked him down back to Pallet. He asks the aide to make sure that his mother will be alright, and giving a kind of awkward side eye, the aide says not to worry about your mother, Roxas. Those thugs wouldn't do anything to her. Roxas isn't so sure, as they've literally been, trying to bribe him with nuggets and chase him down and defeat his Pokemon to take the Helix fossil. The aide simply says that he can't say much more, but he does know that my mom will be safe from the ire of Team Rocket. Confused and unsure why he's so certain of that, Roxas ends up returning to Vermilion and using Cut, approaches the third gym to face Lieutenant Surge. Stepping in, many different sailors and, other, strong looking types end up looking over and saying, well, you have to go through the three of us if you're going to want to take on Lieutenant Surge. So let's see what you got. First up was a Magnemite, a strange sort of floating creature sending out large sonic booms, these just high-pitched frequencies that just actually blast back at Sunny, who misses with their first sleep powder attack and then starts to channel growths in order to basically rinse and repeat the strategy with Misty. It's put them to sleep, stack your stats, and then swipe a Divine Whip and they're left at 0 hit points. The only issue with electric types is that they have quite high special, which obviously in Gen 1 means they have high offense with special type moves and defense against special type moves. So even with all of our stat boosts, we still took an awful lot of damage. And it has to be said, at least in Nuzlocke, where, as much as it was grand we weren't getting hit by, thunder attacks or potentially getting paralyzed, 20 damage turning into 40 damage over 2 turns, like it's an awful lot of damage overall. So we're going to have to be really careful when it comes to moves like Sonic Boom or Dragon Rage, that yes, they can do a set amount, but then you also have to be wary some of, they might do a different move that could do more than 20 and you can't kind of get complacent. Or with creatures like this, which are notorious for self-destructing or wheezings or coughings, So again, we are cautious, we douse it with sleeping powders and start to set up our growths. As I say, each of the Pokemon really do kind of have an offensive or setup play, because Huntress has its sand attacks that can lower the accuracy. Pikachu now has Flash, which I just replaced it with Double Team, so they essentially do the same thing. It's arguable that Double Team was better because it's obviously stacks on Pikachu that will last the entire fight as opposed to Flash, which only impacting one enemy. But we had to use the HM and I didn't want to put it on Seraphine, so I thought the visual of Pikachu getting lit up was cooler, so that's why I did it. But again, seeing more of these Voltorb just having the Sonic Boom attack. But thankfully with the growth setup, Sunny is able to strike them down one by one. And knowing that we can survive another, he goes for another Vine Whip. But unfortunately, if this doesn't KO, we're going to have to swap over because we've less than 20, but all went well. Gained a level as well, up to 26, but still not over the level cap. Lieutenant Surge has a level 28 Raichu, so the level cap actually jumped quite a bit. But we have amazing type coverage in our team, so I don't foresee us having any sort of issue. With our level 26 Princess in the back, it's going to be immune to electric attacks, so realistically it's just getting by our competitive nature, because Roxas has two kind of flaws as a trainer. One is that he's competitive, so we have to kind of fight every single trainer in a new area. We can't kind of skip by them before moving on to the next area, I will say, because like obviously if we're running low we are able to kind of leave and come back after healing, but it's kind of a thing of like, oh, like I just haven't bothered fighting this trainer, he's a bit out of the way. It's like, no, if you can get there, you know, maneuver and fight all of them before we move on. Which for the next ride coming up to Rock Tunnel will be pretty annoying because there is a bunch of trainers on different elevations and you have to like circle back and around, so it's gonna be annoying for me. But at the same time, you know, we need the experience. Experience is good, so I'm not gonna knock it. Now, back to the fight at hand. Princess, being Park ground type, absolutely bodies all of these with Body Slam. And with her high HP as well, it's like even if they were using Sonic Booms, it would have been like just a scratch anyway. So, circling back to heal, we end up talking to the gym aide, and he explains that there are, you know, Lieutenant Surge is a man from the wars. He is like, you know, not one to mince words, that like life can be pretty trash sometimes. So as a symbolism, he has hidden these secret buttons within trash cans, and stifling through the gunk and sludge, Roxas finds the first one and the second switch in rapid succession, allowing him to face off against Lieutenant Surge. Roxas mentions that he had met one of his old army colleagues on the SSN, a secret agent, and he explains his fears of Team Rocket and being pursued by these goons, and basically he says, look, at the end of the day, you gotta do what's right even if it means resisting, so let's just see if you are going to be able to, you know, safeguard these fossils, or should I take them off your hands and just send you home? Facing off against Lieutenant Surge, he sends out a Raichu, the evolved form of Pikachu. Seraphine arrives out on stage, wanting to help, but ultimately Roxas thinks she is in fact in too much danger. Almost passing by and being reminiscent of Splishy diving out of the Pokeball, he hovers over his Pokeball containing Gyarados and instead throws out his Nidoqueen, who is completely immune to the electrical attacks of Raichu. Surge says that he's going to give him a speed boost to allow his quick attacks to do more damage. However, another strike of Body Slam ends up paralyzing the Pokemon, making the speed boost useless, and then giving 2 roundhouse kicks, the Pokemon is defeated, earning us the Thunder Badge and the respect of Lieutenant Surge. He cracks a smile and simply says, no, I was wrong. You absolutely can keep those fossils safe. What I suggest is going through Rock Tunnel. It's currently covered in darkness, so you should be well able to slip by unseen. go through Lavender Town, get to Celadon City, and my colleague in terms of fellow gym leader Erica should be able to assist you moving forward. He wishes me luck in the adventure ahead and to stay brave in the face of mounting adversity. And that's going to be our episode for today. We are going to jump back when we go to the west of Cerulean and continue our adventure. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.